So the other day I decided to hold a poll on my Twitter to see which video I should work on next, and a majority of y'all apparently wanted to see a Weird Dreamcast games video. Also, the option for quit making videos forever you idiot came in second place, which is rude. So I've gone ahead and picked out some of the weirder titles from the library, and when you're talking about the Dreamcast, there's a lot. But I've narrowed it down to just 4, because otherwise it would take all day. So let's start with Super Magnetic Neo.
You take control of Neo, who is a robot created by the Professor. No last name or anything, just the Professor. You're not as cool as Mega Man, but you do have the ability of Magnet Man. Kinda. Hence, Super Magnetic Neo. This little baby child here, Pinky, is our bad guy. But Pinky's just a baby, and I'm not too concerned about her as much as I am with this giant robot mouse woman with polar fields replacing her massive breasts. Also, why are these guys hanging out with a baby?
We now have total control of Pow Pow Park!
Is Pinky even aware of what's going on, or is this one of those along for the ride type situations? What are they even doing? What's the universal significance of Pow Pow Park? There are just so many questions. Alpha 5 appears and alerts our nameless professor of their existence, who doesn't give a shit and bids a robot to do his bidding, all without messing up that perfect noodle-stirring rhythm. Suddenly, our lifeless hero springs to life and rushes out the door to save the world or whatever. I hope that made sense because
Super Magnetic Neo!
Can we talk about civil rights for a second? Is this horrible future really a place where we sit comfortably in our rooms, eating all day, while our 2 slave robots sit at a small room together, one deactivated until needed? As for the game itself, it's Crash Bandicoot. Nah, well, kinda. So earlier I mentioned magnets. Neo has the ability to generate magnetic fields at will, as long as you got the fuel for it, but I wasn't aware that magnets needed fuel. Fucking magnets, man, how do they—
No memes. Choose your fate.
What? What year is it?
Fuck.
Screw it! Fuck it.
So red represents north and blue represents south. All of this game's platforming takes place around this, and you'll see little nodes on the screen that you can either repel or attach yourself onto. You can use similarly colored poles to get some mad air on the little platforms as well. If you mess up, the game sure as hell lets you know with some goofy animations. You can also use the fields to pick up enemies to use as projectiles. Not all of them though, as some of them have spikes that'll insta-kill ya. Oh wait, everything in this game's a one-hit kill unless you grab the very rare HP up things, which, by the way, don't show anywhere on the screen. You can pick one up and not have a damn clue, it's great. Momentum is a central part of the platforming, as seen in a lot of swing-type movements. If you don't let go of your field in time, you'll fall straight down with no forward-moving power. On the other hand, time it right and you'll go flying. Maybe a bit too far. It's all pretty standard for a platformer. Bonus stages at the end of levels with a special item, Nintendo-esque 3 hits to kill bosses, and theme park worlds featuring jungle, future, ancient, and cowboy. Welcome, cowboy. Each world is divided into 4 levels and a boss stage. The boss fights are varying and pretty creative, but nothing too special. For some reason, every time you beat a boss, you get to see the villains hanging out exchanging stories and conjuring up plans. I don't get it, but I don't need to. It's just weird. I got to the cowboy world before giving up. Why? Because auto-scrollers are bad, and this particular stage is Satan. Super Magnetic Neo is one of the hardest 2000s era platformers that I've ever played, and not because of good level design. Cheap insta-kills are everywhere, on top of split-second decisions you have to make with the magnetic fields. Trial and error doesn't work well with limited lives and checkpoints, so it's just super frustrating once you get past the initial batch of levels. I don't think it would be unfair of me to call this game horrible. Thankfully, the next game I have is a treat. Have you ever heard of Red Dog's superior firepower? Well, now you have. It's the most late 90s, early 2000s vehicle combat-ass game you've ever played, but Jesus Christ is it a good one. A lot of these games go for tons of weapon types, but Red Dog went for simplicity. Machine gun, shield, homing missiles. The missiles work a lot like they would in Star Fox, where you hold down the fire button and select a target, or in this case, multiple targets. You can also use what seems to be an overcharge meter to build up to a more powerful machine gun. There's little power-ups that you can pick up to charge that, as well as little droid power-ups that you can collect. Each has a different side weapon, be it chain lightning, a minigun, or lasers. Once you beat a couple single-player missions, you'll unlock challenges that you can also complete. Doing that will then unlock part upgrades for your vehicle buggy thing, which can also be used in multiplayer. Honestly, I don't even know the plot of this one. I kinda just started playing it, and I'd like to keep it that way. No single plot would make driving around full speed and blasting dudes in a vehicle any more or less badass. Boss fights are pretty cool, if a bit easy, but I think it's made this way because the controls are so tight and you really feel like a powerhouse meant to drive straight through enemy lines. Red Dog kind of feels like a Dream Landmaster game. Well, maybe that's because the developer, Argonaut Games, helped out on the SNES original Star Fox. That also explains the homing missiles feeling similar. What else they've done? Yeah, a couple decent what is this? Catwoman? Who runs Argonaut Games? Oh, they shut down, but it's a Jez-san. He made a studio afterwards called Just Add Monsters, which then became... Oh my god. Ninja Theory! Does this mean... I need to go back to the beginning. There has to be something here. There has to be... No, that's just a... So, Pinpin Try is one of the Dreamcast's launch titles, and,
Tina! Looking good today.
Oh my god. I can't tell if this is cute or disgusting. Also, this penguin monster thing's name is Back. Like a backpack or a get back? I just don't know. And it isn't until the very ending of this cinematic that I realized that this is a racing game. And if you can't tell, it's a masterpiece. Pinpin Try was Sega's answer to Snowboard Kids or 1080 snowboarding, and just like the Dreamcast, no one remembers it. That's a shame because it's beautiful. So a triathlon is literally a pun on triathlon, which is a 3-tiered racing competition, traditionally swimming, cycling, and running. Isolon puts a spin on this by replacing the bikes with belly riding, or whatever the hell you want to call this. Truth be told, it's a pretty neat concept. You pick your racer, all of which are equally terrifying, pick a stage and variation, and just go for it. There's no power-ups or anything to let you get ahead, just ridiculous rubber banding and stage hazards. I'll admit, it's kinda cool. You got this goofy and cartoony world made for racing with 3 different types of control schemes. Swimming and sliding both use a timing system where you have to press and release to get the most speed out of your strokes. It's all very similar to a Mario Party minigame, but just wrote it out into a full one. Well, it's hardly a full game. There's only 4 stages, each with 3 variable endings. All in all, you're gonna be doing about 70% of the game over and over, and for what? Hats. That's right, get some hats. The only unlockable character in this game is Hanamizu, the dude from the intro, but there's no way in hell I'm gonna play this to completion. There is a time trial and versus mode, but nobody is gonna play this with me. What's the demographic here? All these characters are terrifying, not adorable. Children would be scarred for an eternity after playing this at a young age. I'm not even sure if the developers really knew what they were doing either. The announcers spouting random statements all the time.
Hey, you really do it, don't you?
Do what? Steal sound effects from Nick Arcade? Pinpin Try better than God Hand.
Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about something really cool. Have you guys heard of Cannon Spike?
Looking at the cover, I'm sure you have no idea what to expect. I really didn't either. However, I wasn't aware that this was going to be a top-down shooter with a cast that's comprised entirely of random Capcom characters. You got Cammy and Charlie from Street Fighter, Shiba Shintaro from 3 Wonders, and this hulking monstrosity is Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins. I don't really see it. But wait, there's more! Hidden but not so hidden directly to the sides of the screen are also Baby Bonniehood from Darkstalkers and Mega Man. Oh, there's also an original character called Simone, who's a super kawaii cyborg, but she's not important. In the world of this world, there is a terrorist group led by some Psychoteer Sting guy, and this cat lady beauty is involved. Yeah, that's her actual name. Story was kinda secondary to a bunch of high-octane explosions, and I like that. Like many Dreamcast titles, Cannon Spike's strength lay in the hard-as-nails approach to everything. You're gonna get your ass kicked the first time around as you get used to the controls. There's 4 types of attacks here: the rapid light machine gun, a crappy melee, a stronger charge attack, and the big ol' heavy hitter. You've gotta commit when you use those though, so be prepared. Lastly, there's a huge special attack that you can use which varies on the character, but uses up a special charge. Thankfully, they stack so you can collect way too many and forget about it. Due to the bullet hell nature of Cannon Spike, you're gonna have to get used to moving around a lot. Thankfully, it allows you to lock onto enemies with the right trigger so you can circle strafe around them without missing hits. It can be a tiny bit janky, and I assume it was only this way because of the Dreamcast controller's lack of a second analog stick. At its core, this game is stupid fun that you can share with a friend. I never got a chance to dive too deep into the genre, but arcadey shoot-'em-ups have always been a soft spot of mine. Cannon Spike is really a great example of the kind of games that the Dreamcast had to offer. Fast-paced, pick-up and put-down games of all kinds of strange varieties. It held on to the ancient gaming concept of scores and replayability, and I think it's better off for it. If something like this was 10 hours long, I feel like it would suffer. But because Capcom didn't do that, we got ourselves quite the hidden gem. If it's too hard, take the difficulty down from normal all the way to baby, and work your way up. Play with some friends and enjoy the ridiculousness that is Cannon Spike. That is, if you can find it. Sell some kidneys, it's worth it. That's what I did.
I don't really have anything else to say, so I guess I'll see you guys next time.